friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We are outside in our raised bed garden area today, and I wanted to talk to you specifically about this concrete bed design for raised beds. Why I love it so much. We had someone comment recently about if we had a dedicated video to setting up this kind of raised bed, you know, just tips and something dedicated to this style of gardening. And while we have mentioned this type of raised bed in multiple videos, we've never done a video dedicated to all the ins and outs of this style bed. So that is what we will do today. We're going to start out with dispelling the number one misconception when it comes to concrete blocks and whether or not they are toxic in your garden. That is a heavily debated topic, and I'm going to tell you about what the difference is between cinder blocks and concrete blocks, why it matters, and what to avoid, and then I'll just generally tell you why I'm not worried about it in my garden. And then I'm just going to be talking to you about the construction of it. It's pretty simple, so I'm going to be focusing more on soil depth, type of soil, maintenance, and then give you the reasons about why I absolutely love this method and why I have switched to this instead of the typical wooden raised garden beds. Let's get started. If you would like help planning a productive garden, scroll down to the description box of this video and click this link for a free garden printable. We calculated quantities for a year's supply of the most common garden vegetables and organized them into a neat chart to help you plan. We'll send it straight to your inbox. If you're new here, we invite you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials on gardening and food preservation, food storage, and more. Okay, so to begin, let's talk about what the issue is with cinder blocks. So even though we use the term cinder blocks today, most of the blocks that you're going to find in your local hardware store are actually going to be concrete blocks, even though we still call them cinder blocks. This is from decades ago when these blocks used to be made with fly ash, which is, from what I understand, a byproduct that is created during the process of processing coal. It's a byproduct of the coal industry, and it is toxic. And since we are watering this area, and since the soil is coming into contact with these blocks, there is a leaching issue there. But most of the concrete blocks today are true concrete blocks. They are no longer have that fly ash in them. So when you're going to if you decide to go this route and you're going shopping for these, you want to ask, are these fully concrete blocks or are these cinder blocks with ash in them? You want to get the concrete blocks. Like I said, most of the blocks that you're going to find in stores today will be the concrete blocks, even though we might just casually call them cinder blocks. That's just because that used to be the mainstream thing. But now fly ash is not used in concrete blocks anymore, as long as they are true concrete blocks and not cinder blocks. So as long as you have true concrete blocks, you don't have to worry about that toxicity issue that we used to worry about with cinder blocks. So that's why I am not concerned about it in my garden. Just be sure to get concrete blocks, not cinder blocks. Okay, so now that we've got that misconception cleared up and out of the way, I want to talk to you about 4 reasons why I absolutely love this style bed. Before we get into that, construction, I'm not giving a video demonstration of the construction of it because it really is just lining up the blocks to where they line up and create a line and just create your box, however, your rectangle, whatever dimensions that you want. I do recommend going no further than 4 feet wide because we want to think about how you can reach into and maintain the plants. And typically what is most comfortable for the general population is going to be reaching no more than 2 feet inwards. If you got 2 feet on this side, reaching 2 feet from this side, that means a total of 4 feet wide. It's probably about the max that you want to go. As far as length, sky's the limit, whatever. So you're basically just lining them straight up into whatever rectangle or square size that you want. It's pretty straightforward. So I want to focus more on the details of the layout, the soil, and all of that. So why have I decided to go this route versus your other typical raised bed construction like wood and cedar and all of that? Because I have tried those before. I haven't tried a full-blown cedar bed. I think that would probably be my next option because cedar lasts for a very long time, but most raised beds that are affordable are not made of cedar, and that wood rots far more quickly than the manufacturer would like you to think. Now they do have metal raised beds, and I'm not using those in my garden just because I have found and loved this method instead. It's more budget friendly. I feel like it's easier to work with. I'm not worried about cutting or my kids cutting themselves on the metal parts and stuff like that. So one of the reasons why I absolutely love this is just the ease of use. I mentioned construction. It's just lining up the blocks. That simple. If you are, well, let me go into number 2 reason why I love it, because it kind of ties into why it's so easy to use. And that is, you don't even have to prep the ground first if you're using weed fabric underneath. And that is something I highly, highly recommend. I'm sitting in this area for a reason, because you can see that this is my kale. Let me get out of the way a minute. And if you can see right here, all of this green right here, those are all weeds. And you can see this dividing block right here. So everything back here is carrots. This is one of the first beds that I installed, and I did not install weed fabric because I just didn't know how easily weeds would come up. But I do know that now. And so all of this bed, and it extends that way about 15 feet. All of this is under weed fabric. So I just wanted to show you all of these weeds popping up through as a demonstration for why you want to lay down weed fabric. But again, it comes to ease of use because you don't have to till. You would just want to mow down your area just as low as possible, and then you can roll out your weed fabric, put your beds in, put your blocks in, and just start filling it in. It really is that simple. So another reason why I absolutely love it is for moderate soil depth. So what I mean by moderate is I see a lot of these raised bed designs that are so tall, and I understand the reason for that, and that's just to help us not have to bend over as much. So it's fantastic if you have back issues, knee issues. It's just great for that. So I totally understand that. But coming from a budget standpoint and trying to garden as frugally as possible, and filling up something that tall is very costly. So having these cinder blocks, they're only about 12 inches. I meant to bring my tape measure out here, but they're about 12 inches deep, 10 to 12 inches deep, and that's all that most plants need. So let me talk about, ooh, fire ant. I hope I'm not sitting on a thing of fire ants, am I? No. Nope, okay, we're good. There's just that one. Okay, what was I saying? Okay, so moderate soil depth. It's more frugal to fill up this style bed versus filling up those deep 24-inch or even deeper raised beds that are on the market today. And since most plants don't even need more than 12 inches of soil, it's totally fine. I know a lot of people will look at this design and be like, that's not enough soil, but it really is. Now there is one caveat. If you are planting something with a very, very deep root system, all you need to do is take a pair of scissors and just poke some holes in the weed fabric. Yes, you're going to risk some weeds coming up through wherever you poked holes, but you're not going to be dealing with anywhere near the amount of weed pressure if you didn't use the weed fabric at all. So just poke a few holes in that weed fabric before you start filling up your bed, and those roots will find, if you're planting something that needs more soil than 10 to 12 inches, those roots will find those holes and go into your native soil and be just fine. Okay, number 3 reason why my wind is blowing off my notebook here. Number 3 reason why I absolutely love this style raised bed is for the built-in flower border or built-in herb border. So obviously you can see, we all know concrete blocks have these 2 little holes inside them. This is so much fun to plant flowers and herbs in so that you can save your space in here for those veggies that are going to be really producing and things that you're going to be preserving for your pantry. You can then line these holes that with this, basically save this real estate for the really big important stuff, and then use these little holes in this border for your flowers and herbs. Now you can do anything you want here, but I highly recommend planting flowers and herbs that are good companions for whatever you're planting here. So for instance, let's pretend you're going to plant tomatoes in this bed. It would be fantastic to then put basil in the holes around those tomato plants because they're really good for each other. Basil helps tomatoes actually taste a little bit better. And then there's other plants that deter bugs that like to feed on tomatoes. And so you can do that for all different sorts of things. You know, you can just research your crop that's going in here and look for flowers and herbs that deter the pests that then attack that crop. And I just love how this is just like a built-in flower and herb border. The number 4 reason why I absolutely love this is because kind of the same reason. It has to do with these holes, and that is built-in frames for supporting shade cloth and frost cloth. I mentioned this in a previous video on planting lettuce, so if you have seen that video, you have already seen this, but just in case you have not watched that video, what I do is I just put rebar, and I've got 2 pieces of rebar right here. I'm going to pull it out so you can see, just about a 12-inch piece of rebar, and I've just poked holes through the weed fabric and the hole, and then straight across I've done the same thing with another piece of rebar. And then you can just take a piece of poly tubing. This is the same type of tubing you would use to irrigate your garden that people use for drip irrigation. And they just slide right down on that rebar, and then you have a hoop structure that took, what, 10 seconds of time to then drape shade cloth and frost cloth. And so it's just, I just absolutely love that the design is built into it. Okay, so those are all the reasons why I have switched to this concrete bed style. Now, there are a few things you need to know if you decide to go with this. Everything has pros and cons, and we have to weigh those pros and cons to decide if it's something that we want to do or not. And concrete beds are no exception. I've talked about all the pros. Let's talk about the cons that may not necessarily be cons. We just need to be aware of them so that we can address them. So, number 1 is that the weeds will still come up through. And I've already talked about how you want to put down weed fabric, but I just want to reiterate that. If you have 10 to 12 inches of soil in these raised beds, when I first started gardening, I thought 10 to 12 inches of soil, that's plenty to squash out all the weeds. There's no way weeds are going to grow up through almost a foot of soil. I was wrong. They absolutely will. So you do want to lay down weed fabric underneath your raised bed just to get rid of those weeds. Get rid of that weed pressure. The other thing that I absolutely love is, well, not absolutely love, something that you just need to know, and that I think I've already mentioned it, is poking holes in the weed fabric if you're going to be using something with a very deep root system. Peppers tend to have a pretty deep root system. Okra, very big, heavy, you know, big root system. So just research whatever you are planning on growing. And if it's known for having a very deep root system, like I said, just go ahead and puncture holes in your weed fabric, just, you know, sprinkled out throughout your bed, and those roots will find those holes. You don't necessarily have to line up the seed with exactly, you know, those holes. You don't have to be that meticulous about it. Those roots will absolutely seek out and find that hole and make it into your native soil, and you don't have to, you know, it's not a concern at all for how shallow that the soil level is compared to your traditional style raised beds. Okay, number 3 thing you need to know is that concrete gets hot, it retains heat, and therefore it's going to dry out the soil faster than something like a wooden raised bed. I think we all know how hot concrete can get, but one thing that I didn't really think was that the hotness of the concrete being in contact with that soil would dry out the soil more. So that is a con for sure, and maybe is the biggest con of a concrete raised bed. But since we know about it, I know that that's the case, so I just make sure that I am watering this raised bed. I'm giving it a lot more water than I do other parts of my garden. The vast majority of my garden uses deep mulch or a ground cover, or it's growing in wood chips or something like that that naturally holds moisture, and so I don't have to water too terribly often. But I just know that, hey, anything in a concrete raised bed, I need to make sure that it's getting adequate amount of water on those days when it doesn't rain for days at a time. So just know that ahead of time, that you're going to need to dedicate a little bit more time, a little bit more water to keeping these raised beds watered appropriately. Okay, the number 4 thing and last thing you need to know that I just want to talk about is how to fill it. It's not going to be any different filling a concrete bed versus filling any of your other raised bed styles. And that is going to be, you're basically wanting a raised bed mix. If you're going to the store and if you're going to be buying from the store, you're going to look for something that says raised bed mix or container mix, and that's what you want to fill your concrete beds with. Now, That said, if you want to garden, if you're going to be gardening, you know, at any scale, that can get very expensive buying those really small bags of raised bed mix at the store. So if you're going to be growing on a larger scale, I do recommend creating your own mix because it can be so much cheaper when you can buy those items in bulk. And so the four main components of something of a mixture that you're going to be making yourself is going to be topsoil. You can get it by the truckload, the trailer load, you know, go get it by the cubic foot, and you can get a much better price on it when you're buying a lot at one time. So I do recommend going with a truck or going with a trailer and getting it that way. You're going to get more bang for your buck. So topsoil, number one. Number two is going to be cow manure. I recommend black cow. That's the form of composted manure that I have used. I just recently have a local supplier for it, but in the past I didn't, so I just went to the store and bought black cow. But if you have a local supplier of composted horse or cow manure, you can save a lot of money that way, because a lot of times people will just say, bring, you know, if you come and shovel it, you can have it for free. And a lot of times the people who have cow manure and horse manure, they also have tractors. And so they'll just they'll just go in there, scoop it up, dump it in your trailer, and either give it to you for free or charge a small amount, far less than what you're going to pay at your hardware store or garden center. So topsoil, some type of composted manure, I recommend cow or horse. The third thing is going to be peat moss. Now, peat moss is that's something that comes typically in 1 to 2 cubic foot bags at the store, but they are compressed. So when you decompress those bags, it's more like 2 to 3 cubic feet, and it goes a long, long way. Peat moss is something that holds moisture, it retains moisture. So when you're gardening inside of a raised bed like this, you typically want something to retain moisture, especially when you're gardening with those concrete, because like we said, there is that drying out issue with the concrete blocks getting so hot and drying out the soil. So that peat moss just helps retain as much water as possible when it does rain and when you do water. Fourth and final is going to be your choice of either vermiculite or perlite. And again, you can buy these in bulk, and don't get those little tiny containers. They are, you know, not cost effective at all. But you can get a 3, 4, 5 pound bag at places like Amazon or other places online, and the cost per ounce is going to be far lower when you buy in bulk. Vermiculite and perlite, they have a whole lot of similarities. They do have some differences. You might want to research those and choose which one is best for you. I like them both, and I've used them both. You don't necessarily need both of them in your raised bed mix, but basically what they do is they're like these little balls, and they help retain moisture and keep the soil loose and aerated so that it fights compaction, basically. So you've got your topsoil, you've got your manure. Both of those things can tend to get really compacted when under heavy rains or frequent watering. So you want that peat moss and then that either vermiculite or perlite in there, mixed in there, to kind of prevent that compaction and keep the soil nice and loose and aerated. And that's it. Those are the 4 components of like a DIY homemade raised bed mix that can save you money when you're filling up big beds like this. Okay, y'all, I hope that was helpful to you. I think that's all I wanted to cover. I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below, and I will be sure to get to those as soon as I possibly can. Happy gardening. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.